Hey everybody. Welcome to the Retro podcast. This is the first one we're doing, so this is kind of exciting. I'm your host, Orb. I am part of the Feisty Doge project. Our guests today are Pat, of NFT founder, and Smoke of Dog. So
Hello.
we're going to be speaking about Retro Doges today. It's an NFT project that I'm sure some folks have heard about already. It's pretty exciting stuff. But let's start with some introductions. So welcome to the show, both of you. Who'd like to go first?
Yes, I'm Path. I'm the founder of NFT. So Feisty Doge is one of the original images of Kabosi, the Doge, world famous Doge. So her owner at Seiko auctioned it off as an NFT in the summer of 2021. And the main image was one by Plizidao, which became Dog. But there were 7 other images as well. One of those was Feisty Doge. So that was run by CryptoTrunks. And then I helped them fractionalize it into a token. It was the first Doge image to be fractionalized. But it's about the reason we did it is because now everyone gets to join in owning this artifact. It's a big part of history. It's a very famous meme, and for it to be recorded on the blockchain means there's that provenance. It's stored there forever.
I love that. There's so much thick stuff around it. There's lore, there's the history, there's all this. It's so much to talk about. So I think I'm sure it's going to come out a lot more in a little bit. How about you, Smoke?
So I have a little bit of a similar story as far as our project, which is Own the Doge. We also ended up bidding on and winning the most famous image of Doge, which is from the Doge meme that became very popular years ago. Pleaser DAO bid on it and won it for about $4 million or so in ETH. We then fractionalized it as well into Dog token. So I am on the leadership team of Own the Doge. I help mainly with operations and community, but a little bit of everything. Myself and Path work together on the Doge Improvement Council. And yeah, we love NFT, super happy to be here. And we just really work to spread the word of Doge. To go into a little bit of what we do, we have something that we refer to as the Bark Tank, which is a process through our DAO where the community can get involved and bring their Dogely ideas to life. We have a council, myself and Path are both on, and we choose different ideas to fund, and we help to run our DAO. So super excited to be here. Thanks again for inviting me.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you. This is so cool and so exciting because I've been working with Feisty Doge for a little over a year now, I think, something like that. Time flies, but looking at the history of all the projects around Doge, around Kabosu in general, right? It just feels like there's an inevitable kind of crossover that was supposed to happen. Maybe market conditions slowed it down, or who knows, right? But right now, we're collaborating finally, which is really, really exciting. And there's some topics here to talk about, from provenance to what our collaboration means, how these projects are crossing over. How do you folks feel about how it took what it took to get us where we are today? How is the experience, the journey into crypto and all of this been for you?
It's been amazing. It's been a bumpy road, I would say, but it's all worth it, because I feel like we have all been on the cusp of breaking and very innovative technology that hasn't yet caught on to the level that it definitely will. I think that we see smart contracts and blockchain technology being used now, and kind of the cornerstone of things like smart cars. A lot of the stuff that Tesla's doing, a lot of these things depend on either smart contracts or blockchain technology, this level of automation and access to the internet. So I think that we are really pioneers in the industry. I think the NFT industry has had its ups and downs, like everything, as well as like the metaverse realm. But I think that a lot of the biggest players are starting to see the potential. I think that's why Facebook, or also known as Meta, has invested so much money into this. But I think that some of the smaller projects or more grassroots projects are kind of still leading the way, because we have the knowledge, the experience, and the passion that I think some of the larger companies kind of lack. So excited to be involved with this, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. I think regardless of the market, this technology is 100% here to stay. Um, and I foresee a future where it's used in almost every aspect of the technological world that we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the main things about NFT and dog and NFTs in general, really, they solve this problem using the blockchain that the traditional art market has of provenance and recording history and ownership, and so many different artworks through time they get lost. People don't know if they're real or not when they reappear. There's all these problems with authenticity. Whereas on the blockchain, you have it all there; it's publicly open forever, so it will always be recorded. And I think NFTs being relatively new in the short term, this isn't something that's really been appreciated. But when it comes to these major cultural artifacts like Doge, right, these things are going to be around for quite a long time, I would think. Um, so knowing what is authentic and having that in perpetuity is huge. Um, so I think that's something that will come to be appreciated more in the long term.
Yeah, I mean the authenticity point is kind of what brought so many of us here in the first place. The concept of provenance and being able to track where something was, originated or where it came from. And I think that bridge is really interesting because you mentioned real world applications are inevitable, and coupled with this idea of authenticity, we have this opportunity not just to bring in new folks, but also keep rewarding the folks like ourselves who have been here since the beginning, with healthy interactions with others, and also kind of, I think, bringing us out of the traditional kind of models that we started out with in the last few years. And it's funny because I'm calling it traditional, but it's like a few years old, so it's really not traditional at all. Um, where Path, would you like to actually introduce what Retro Doges is, how it originated? Because I think this project is a great example of what happens when some of us who've been around for a long time begin to start creating new projects, even though it's supported by communities who've been around for a while.
So Retro Doges is a PFP collection that's been incubated by NFT. NFT had a lot of initiatives to support community projects that help sort of grow the brand and ultimately Kaposi's image. So yeah, it's very much based on the community that enjoys the Doge meme. And it's also it wants to reach out into the Web3 sort of metaverse. It's a very loose definition. It doesn't particularly mean anything at the moment in metaverse, but yeah, we wanted to create avatars that can actually be interoperable with different applications. So yeah, we're here today in this podcast room because the NFTs that can be used as avatars in most like 3D worlds. So there's examples of them being used in GTA, but also here on Hyperfy, and they'll be usable in Webaverse, Upstreet, all these other platforms in the Web3 space. So they can, yeah, they're compatible with many different things, and we love that.
It's also a very different take on, we're not just saying, hey, if you buy this NFT, you also get a pair of shoes, maybe possibly in 6 months. It's immediate interoperability, which is really exciting. Smoke, do you have any ideas about how this will work for like the long term? Because I love your emphasis on how we're here early and these real world applications are coming, right, and they're inevitable. Do you have any insight on how you feel this might go in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really bullish on retro doges. Just meeting with you guys, the team, getting to know Path better. Very impressed by the quality of people involved, the background, the level of knowledge and development skills that everybody has, and passion. So I think I foresee retro doges being extremely successful in the long term. I think that the style is on point. I love the style. I love the retro look in general. I'm a fan of older music, decor, you name it. I love the 70s, 80s type of stuff. And then you have Doge. So I think kind of seeing the merging of those two things together and the fact that you guys did rig these, they're metaverse ready, you're building out a metaverse, you're partnering with other people, you're reaching out to other communities, and you're working with leaders in the industry. I think it's a no-brainer that this is going to be successful long term.
Oh, yeah, we appreciate the kind words. I actually had this when we were building the website. There was this moment where I just got very overwhelmed because we were listing out all of the different metaverses and environments that these avatars can integrate with. The list is like Hyperfi, Momate, Hologram Labs, Substrata, OnCyber, Monoverse, GTA, like Grand Theft Auto, running around as a retro doge, causing a ruckus. Like it's just crazy to think about like how many different applications this can have. But at the core of it, I think, is this concept of identity, right? Digital identity. The provenance ties into that. I've always had so many weird views presented to me about what that means. Like, is your wallet your identity, or is the PFP you're using your identity? Are there different levels to this, right? But now it's starting to encroach on actual application. So, like, there was this video that the team shared where I think it's more of a GIF. It's a Zoom meeting with like the 9-person grid, and one of the people just turns into a retro doge, and one of the faces of the other folks that are on the call, this lady, her face is just like, what the hell is that, and it's just like catches her off guard. And I always thought that was really funny, where like, if you think about it, if you bring some sort of, I don't know, cultural artifact from the NFT world into the real world, and you don't tell people it's an NFT, right? And they don't see it, they don't know what it is, because it's probably not a Bored Ape or a punk or whatever, right? And I'm curious to see if you guys have any insight on how you feel about this, because this project isn't just about collecting a few tokens. It's about your identity in places outside of Twitter and Discord and a few marketplaces, right? Do you see any other applications or any other benefits to this, and how it may even contribute to onboarding people onto our side of the fence?
Yeah, so if you have a PFP that's compatible with like every platform you use, then that's immediately like an advantage for it, because you can just take it wherever you want to go, right? Whether you're playing a game or you're on social media, really, it's a huge help compared to most of the other projects out there.
I mean, you're also a gamer, Path. So do you see this like kind of making a splash out in that world?
Yeah, so the Hyperfly is very similar to VR chat, I believe. So yeah, I think it could have some impact there potentially. I know a lot of people outside the crypto space don't really like the ideas of NFTs, but yeah, I think eventually it will catch on. People will change their mind one day. They'll realize what it means.
Like, I just love what you guys are doing, and it makes me think back because so I was an early adopter of Decentraland. I was there like kind of in their first year, and there really was so much excitement for having your own avatar, being able to stylize it, and not only that, but creating your name and being able to like solidify it on the blockchain. So there would be people that would visit Decentraland, but they would just get like a randomly generated code that would be their name, or I believe it was a randomly generated code. But then if you really wanted to solidify your name, then you would actually have to use their native currency, and which was mana, and in order to actually like solidify it on the blockchain and have your name. And I can see that coming back in a big way. I am also a gamer like Path. I was trying to become a pro, but I was not good enough. But I did play with some very good players, semi-pro level. And I think that gamers are a perfect fit for everything we're doing. But like Path mentioned, there's something that is stopping them from delving further into this technology. I do think it's the loot box thing. I think they correlate NFTs in the fact that you buy them, or with crypto. I think they like in their mind that just leads them to think, oh, it's a cash grab. I don't think they fully grasp the reality of the significance of the technology yet. That said, a lot of gamers have collected and spent actually really big money on things like CSGO skins. Oftentimes in games like Apex Legends, you'll see a lot of gamers that will absolutely buy skins. So, in my opinion, one effective technique might be getting a skin into like an Apex Legends or whatever the newest game is now, a Valorant. Maybe getting a Retro Doja skin in there. Going into their world and letting them see, giving them a taste of what we're doing, what we're up to, and trying to find a middle ground. I think during the bear market, we're all trying to find that middle ground to bring this next phase into reality.